Hi, you're listening to Boggy Talk, Faith Conversations in the Mud, a resource of Church on Bayshore.
Well, hey, thanks for joining us on Boggy Talk. This is our first 2025
We're back.
episode.
Wow,
Yeah.
we're back. Boggy's back.
It was the
back
longest
again.
Boggy Talk break ever.
What's
Really?
I think so. I don't think we've taken a break that long. We took like a month off in the summer, but really from the time we filmed our last one to the time of filming this,
Wow.
I think it is. I don't know.
I got a question. I'm
It
gonna
just-
fact check. You.
Okay, feel free to. I'll be glad to be wrong.
We're fact checking in 2025.
That's right. That's the
the
theme.
yeah.
That's the
There
theme
you
of
go.
2025.
Well, 2025 is here.
It is.
We're already in the middle of January.
We
Like
are.
a freight train.
For sure.
You know, I think that's kind of the downfall of like after Christmas, you know, being able to shut down, which is amazing. But then January happens and all these things that were already in motion in December that you've hit pause on, you realize they're still there. They're all waiting.
Yeah.
And that's where we are.
Speaking of things, one shout out I have to make the beginning of all this is Night to Shine.
Let's do
Night
it.
to
Yes.
Shine is coming up, and
It
we
is
need
coming.
volunteers.
Hey, yes, we need volunteers for Night to Shine.
Yeah.
And tell them of all the ways they can volunteer, Kelly.
Well, there are many different ways. So anything from with helping out with food, the red carpet. We need buddies. That's kind of our biggest one. Every guest has a buddy, unless they bring one. And so right now we have about 75
Wow.
people
Yeah,
that need
that's
buddies.
awesome.
So yeah. Also like photography, the hair and nails area.
Yeah.
It's a great time.
Yeah.
It's a great night. So
And I think too, just from last year was our first year doing it. And I think some people were a little hesitant because they felt like they didn't know what to do. And especially buddies, they were like, I think I could do that. And they felt like they didn't have the skills necessary maybe to be one-on-one with an adult with special needs. And let me just say that everyone who served as a buddy last year, I mean, talked to so many people who just said, that was the best thing I've ever volunteered for. It was the most fun I've ever had volunteering for something. Just to dispel any thoughts that, you know, you're going to be put in uncomfortable situations. It's not like that. It really is just incredibly fun time to show value and honor to the guests. So I would just say, please sign up right now because it takes a lot of work to plan this. And the more volunteers who sign up, the sooner, the better.
What time
yes,
does Tim
please.
Tebow show up?
We never know. So you
okay.
just have to come and see
Oh, yeah.
if
People
he will
do
show
ask,
up
is
or not.
Is Timmy coming?
Yeah.
Can you just dress up in a Florida Gators?
There you
Like
go.
a has-been Tim Tebow?
We'll
right.
just do
Like a
that.
has-been Tim Tebow?
That sounds great.
Well, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
It
Well,
is. It's so fun.
today's episode, we are going to be talking about last year, actually.
Yeah.
Let's look back.
2024, kind of a year review, things that happen in the world and then things in our church. So,
Yeah.
you want to start us off?
Yeah, well, I kind of built a little year in review, and you guys kind of just jump in, and maybe we can give some comments, and then that'll spring us into a year forward. So back all the way
Man,
in
this is
January of
crazy.
last year,
12 months ago.
Israel and Hamas was still intense as we entered into the year. And I would say that's actually been in the backdrop, really, of all of 2024,
Yeah,
even though
it's-
most people put it out of their mind and still
It has
continues to go on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In January is when Trump won the Iowa caucus.
And we're all still like, he really is going to be the
But
president
listen,
again.
it was all year.
all
Yeah.
year long.
So DeSantis dropped out of the race in January of last year.
That's-
It's
that
hard to
feels like
believe.
Was it
really
that
long.
early?
Yeah, it
I mean,
was, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Michigan won the national championship, college football championship.
And if Ohio State wins this year, Michigan will claim that they're the national champions again
Nation-
because
oh,
they
'cause they
beat
beat
Ohio State.
Oh.
That's what Michigan fans.
I am
believe.
not cheering for Ohio State.
I'm
united with the Catholics and a couple
yeah.
things.
I just don't. I have a hard time
And that's
because I
one of
don't
them.
feel like they should be rewarded for being independent. That's all I'll say.
Oh, Notre Dame?
So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, they scammed
Well,
the system.
Yeah. That's also what Trump said about some of his opponents. But, so, moving on into February. Obviously, in February, it was a Super Bowl, and this past Super Bowl was the most watched TV program in U.S. history.
Wow.
Because of Taylor Swift.
Now, I bet to
Oh,
and
for
Usher.
sure.
I know, and you could argue and debate because of whom more. You
Yeah,
know, was
right.
it really because Usher was a halftime, or was it just because
Yeah.
people were watching because of Taylor Swift?
The Usher halftime show was actually a little disappointing.
Yeah,
yeah,
I remember
it
that.
was. Who's doing it this time? This coming time? I have no idea.
I was just thinking that. I'm not sure.
I don't
Have
know.
they announced it yet?
They
I don't
have,
know.
yeah.
I
Okay.
can't remember. So obviously it'll
Oh,
be great.
that's sad then. So
We
we don't
should know
know.
that already. It's not Beyonce.
Yeah.
Even though she did top the country charts
What?
in
Yes,
February.
she became
Texas Hold'em, right?
Yeah,
that
that's
whole
right.
album.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. And then Mitch McConnell stepped down, which I didn't know or remembered. Or paid attention to.
Big events in history.
He was the longest Senate leader in the U.S. history.
That's wild.
Yeah, so that's wild. In March, LeBron James scored 40,000 points.
Yes. And
Caitlin
so,
Clark set the NCAA scoring record. So a couple
Yeah.
basketball
Remember
things.
yeah, that was a fun thing to watch. That was fun.
France was the first country to put abortion in its constitution.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
right,
very sobering. And
Yeah.
right in the Constitution.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and so that's when Nikki Haley withdrew, March, and so it's Trump at that point for the Republican nominee. in
That is
March.
wild to think that it was, all the way back
Yeah.
in March.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Florida became the third most populous state in April with 23 million residents, which I thought we had done that before, but
I thought we were the third. Yeah, I thought it was like
Thought it'd been a
California,
minute.
Texas, Florida. Oh, maybe it was New York before.
it
Maybe
used to
we
be New York.
surpassed
But I
New
thought
York.
it was like a couple years ago. But
Anyway,
Anyway.
yeah, all these people keep moving to Florida.
In April, Taylor Swift became a billionaire, and she released "Tortured Poets." Remember, and referenced what city?
Oh.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Destin.
Destin, Florida.
Yes, she made a
right.
song about Destin. That's right.
Yeah, but she totally doesn't understand because she talked about timeshares in Destin, Florida.
Yeah.
But they don't have those really
No,
much.
it's just condos.
I mean, there's maybe
It's
a
true.
few, but yeah. And then the Vatican rejected sex changes in April, so that was a kind of worldwide thing. Maybe Americans don't care that much, but in June, Pat Sajak had his final spin.
Man, what an end of an era. Yeah, just Pat Sajak. What
Yeah,
a
I
what a
thought
great game show
I
host.
thought he was dead.
I don't even know who that is.
Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's the host of Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, I thought you said he died. Okay.
Oh, no,
final
he didn't
spin.
die.
I didn't
I
know if that
mean-
was like.
No. His final spin.
He had his
that would be
final
good to
spin
see. All right,
I
on
was
the
like,
wheel,
he died.
on the wheel of life.
Apparently he's like
okay.
pretty funny on Twitter, but
That's funny. I have no idea.
I really am not on there that much anymore. The SBC was in June, and
Yes.
so
Go
things
back and listen to
happened
those
there.
episodes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. The Celtics beat the Mavs in the NBA Finals.
Hmm.
The Panthers won the NHL Finals, and nobody cares.
Not in Florida.
Yeah, and then Trump and Biden debated all the way back in June.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And it was Trump and Biden.
That is wild. And that was
That was pivotal.
really what's I think sealed
Was
the deal.
Biden's final spin.
It really was. It was final.
Yes,
That's
for
funny.
sure. Nice.
That's what sealed the deal in his having his willingly stepping aside.
Yeah.
Whether or
Yeah.
not it was willing or not will be one for the conspiracy theories to solve. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Speaking of conspiracy theories,
Ooh,
in July,
you got my attention
there was
now.
an assassination attempt on President Trump.
Yeah.
I should have paused and said in June, KB joined the team here
Oh,
at
yes.
Bayshore.
Yes.
Yeah.
Officially.
Changed all of our lives.
Yes, it did. Kamala Harris took over in July 21st, and then the Paris Olympics in July 26th they began, and Justin
Yeah.
That
Fun.
was epic.
Over
Yes.
Because
Celine
Celine
Dion.
Dion, man, she sang her heart out in that opening ceremony. It was so good. After if you just watch her documentary, I mean, you really feel sorry for her because she really doesn't have a lot. Like she doesn't have anything bigger than herself to live for, which is heartbreaking. But
Yeah.
the fact that she's saying how she's saying in that overcoming
Yeah.
her stiff person syndrome is remarkable. Way to
Yeah.
go, Celine.
A few people in our first service seem like they have stiff person syndrome when we sing worship songs.
That's so
but-
true.
And if
It's
they
just their
really do,
faces.
I'm sorry. And that was not funny. But if they don't, it is funny. I really couldn't find anything noteworthy in August, probably because it's so hot.
Yep.
Yeah, we just
And
died.
school starts
melting
now.
away.
Everybody's
Yeah.
just...
Yeah,
It's a rough month.
August is a rough month.
September is when Harris and Trump debated.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah.
That's a
there was
word for
another
it.
assassination attempt, remember, at the golf course?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I kind of forgot, but now I remember.
Diddy was arrested.
Yeah,
in
that's an
September.
ongoing big
Yes,
thing.
it is.
And yeah.
Yes, and then Hurricane Helene on September 26th, where 170 people died.
That's wild.
Which
Yeah.
was the worst
Devastating.
since Hurricane Katrina.
Wow.
Yeah. And then October, Hurricane Milton on October 9th. Obviously, just continued devastation in the southeast because of these storms. Speaking of devastation, Bronny James played in an NBA game with his dad, LeBron.
Yeah, talk about nepotism right there.
Yeah. And he should not be in the
No,
league.
but-
And then the Dodgers beat the Yankees in the World Series.
Two of the Atlanta Braves arch enemies right there.
Two of just about everybody.
Yeah, everybody hates. They're easy to hate. Those teams are easy to hate.
Got so much money.
And then the Yankees just because they're who they are. I don't know why, but Well, I know why the Braves hate them, but
the Cubs just hate everybody. They beat us all. In November, President Trump was reelected, and he'll be inaugurated next week.
Yes, on the 20th.
Yes. Wow. And then I didn't know this, but Jim from The Office was voted sexiest man alive in November.
Jim.
Which is really
You've come so far,
Yeah.
Jim, from that paper company. The paper
Dunder
company in
Mifflin.
Scranton, Pennsylvania.
I really feel like the sexiest man alive thing is just kind of like, whose line is it anyway? Like, who wins the award,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
They've kind of gone through. They're like, all right, who's left over
Yeah,
here?
keep voting for Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. Okay, and whoever's the new guy. So, and then December, Hunter Biden was pardoned, and the United Healthcare CEO was shot.
Yeah.
Both kind of things that made a big deal, of course. And then just a couple things throughout the year.
Yeah, big overall themes.
Yeah, I think AI obviously continues to have a crazy effect and kind of scary.
And we're still, I think, we're just beginning to figure it out how much it's going to affect us.
Yeah.
Really.
It's really creating more skepticism, though, because
Yeah.
it's like, what is real, what is true, you know? So like,
Yeah. What's crazy is really right before, I think some of the implications of how it can positively affect things. Right before we filmed this, Lucas, our new children's pastor, as he was just ordained, but I came to him and he said he was having an issue with a document trying to condense it, and he actually, just in his own words, and he put it into ChatGPT and said, hey, I need you to condense this and eliminate all the things that are redundant, and it shortened it.
Wow.
Right? And it actually did a really good job. It's like, so there are positive ways it can help us if you leverage the right way, but it cannot be a replacement for real people.
Right.
Yeah, and then obviously kind of related to that is there continues to be revelations on just what they call brain rot and the impacts of social media, specifically on young people. And I think we're going to find in years and years to come just how much it is really psychologically,
it is
intellectually.
You've read the book,
people.
The Anxious Generation?
Yes, by Jonathan Haidt.
Christy's reading it right now, and so I'm getting her telling me about it because I've got a lot of other books I'm having to read for school. And she was talking about how it's not written from a Christian perspective at all, but at the end, he has a chapter on spirituality and how technology has affected our ability to focus, but also our ability to search things outside of ourselves because we're not filled with any kind of curiosity or awe or wonder anymore because everything is right here. Yeah. Very interesting, fascinating.
Yeah, and then I mean, somewhat all related to that kind of is anxiety. I mean, I think that you just referenced that book, and I think staggering numbers on how many children, young adults are facing anxiety issues. Yeah, and I think very much related to what you're talking about. Yeah.
100%.
So I mean, those are just things maybe even we can talk through, as we look into the year, but. How about we talk about the church specifically, Kelly, if that sounds good, and if one of y'all want to lead that since I've talked so much.
Well, I'll start, and then I'll just pass it off to you in a minute. So the first thing, we started off in January announcing that our debt for our previous building phase of the kids building and redoing the campus, the debt was paid off in full.
Paid in full.
That is a God thing.
Yeah.
That is God working through a lot of people, a lot of sacrifice, generosity, and great stewardship. So I'll also hats off to really our stewardship team for working a diligent plan. Steve Renna, our executive pastor administration, just being diligent. And really, I mean, leaders in our church being wise in how we steward resources.
That was a cool moment, I think, on stage with you and the other.
Even though it didn't work out so well.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't
that's
know
right,
that.
with
It
Pastor
didn't work
Mike.
out.
We just threw it in.
For those of you
I don't
familiar
even
with our
remember
church,
that.
Pastor Mike.
It worked out so great.
Yeah.
See?
With Pastor Mike, and bring that up there and burning the note. But
But let's use AI to recreate that moment.
Yeah, we should. Where it actually burns.
there you go.
Yeah, exactly. And and then we had Night to Shine was our first time hosting that in February, and I remember distinctly coming off how great that was. And then at the end of February, our student minister Alec Ammons coming in my office and being like, "Hey, I need to talk," and he was telling me that he was going to be moving, and so he left. Which really, for the rest of the year, our student ministry operated without a student minister, and I will say that our leaders stepped up in a big way, and just really helped carry things through super well as we sought to bring some organization, communication, and then really our leaders did great. Our students are so resilient. They really pressed in, and student ministry grew, I think, just because of their resiliency. And also we had a large 5th grade class move up to 6th grade. And just great structure
Well, y'all
there.
did a great job of keeping that continuity there, and I think that the kids really enjoyed seeing you all there and having your presence. I know,
It was a
especially
lot of
during
fun
the
being.
summer.
It really was a lot of fun just being with students. So that was awesome.
Started to grow weary.
I mean, by the end of the year, I was like, I don't know how much longer.
Tired.
And it wasn't the students.
No,
it was
no.
just the work. There's just
And
a heavy load of work.
communication,
It's just constant. And so,
I remember you calling me. I was at Disney World on vacation. Remember?
yeah, it's
You're
like, so,
hey, buddy.
hey, guess what? No, I mean,
I'm like,
yeah,
it's gonna be okay.
it is. Like, hey, we're
You
all
had just stepped into the role too,
like
where you're
less than a
overseeing
month.
several
I was like, all right,
staff.
here we go. It's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
God's got it. Hey, and then shortly after that was Easter.
Yeah.
And we had record attendance on Easter
Yes, we
Sunday,
did. Wow.
which was incredible. I don't remember the exact number, but it was the most people on campus for an event or any a service, I should say. And then,
Well, I was going to say, one thing that people don't realize is we do put extra effort, money into promoting Christmas and Easter. And there are often people who, when they actually get connected to the church, the first time they were here was Easter or
Wow.
Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And so it is really worth it in terms of, outreach, if you would use that.
For sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely. So I'll take us through our next few, and then pass it off. But really in April through June, we added several staff members to our kids ministry staff. We recognized the need to restructure for growth, to really sustain the growth that had already occurred in kids ministry. And so we brought on Greta Barrett to serve as our preschool coordinator and our preschool director, and then Taylor Palmer serving as our volunteer coordinator in kids ministry. And that transitioned Beth's role to be a children's ministry assistant, and Lucas gets to oversee that team. And they're doing a great job, and I'm already seeing some of the fruit of that in just the organization, volunteers, communication, and really some of the structure and discipleship elements that are coming forward.
Yeah, for sure.
And then in the midst of all that, we also added Kelly Brown to our team in your role.
It was a worldwide event and a church event.
Okay.
That's right.
Glad I made
right.
both.
Boggy Talk Nation.
Yeah, and so you've brought so much value to our staff team and our communications team and you guys. I actually in our trustees meeting yesterday just bragged on you guys, just you and Emily and Josh supporting in that role too with the video and media stuff. Just have really helped in so many ways, and really people come to me like, man, you guys are doing great on social media. I was like, what you mean is our communications team is doing great with social media.
Like, you and Justin are so funny, blah, blah, blah. We
I'm like,
literally
no,
just did what Kelly told
Wow.
me.
Like,
We
Emily said,
appreciate you guys doing that.
Hey, do this, and we did it, and it worked.
It's fun, and Emily and
Yeah.
Josh are great, and I love that all you guys go along with all of our crazy ideas. So thank you.
And Justin's passing it off to you from then on because you were in charge.
All right,
Yeah,
So
that's right.
the summer is a great time to come on staff at a church, and
I remember being like, it's going to be crazy because we're all going to be in and out a lot
Yeah.
over these next
Yeah.
few weeks with trips and
Yeah.
people,
It's a
vacations
different-
and times. And
Yeah.
then real life will start in August. So.
yeah, it did have its seasons for sure, but it was good. It was great. So in July there was the New York high school trip, and you were able to go on that one, and
It was awesome.
it was a great time. What the church that you guys were supporting, Mosaic?
One community church.
Community
in New York
church.
City.
Why
That's
did I
okay.
say that?
I don't know.
Word?
I don't
Okay.
That's okay. It sounds like a church
Yeah.
in New York
Okay.
City.
Yeah, it does.
And then in August, we had, because of numbers,
Yes.
we had a lot of life groups that we asked to switch times to leave some more space in congregation.
and praise Jesus.
Yes.
Yeah, they did. First, I want to say thank you. There were really no complaints. Like people just said, okay, we get it, and we did it. I mean, a few people, and this involved some people having to switch, not just the life group switch, but a few people, because of our structure in student ministry, had to move out of the life group they were in into a different group, and we recognize that is hard.
Right.
But people were just really gracious about it. Like, we get it, and if we had not done that, I don't know what we've done, because
No, we'd be out of room.
Yeah, we'd be out of room. So
Yeah.
thank you for doing that.
Yeah, and we had even through that, like, some new life groups start, which, I mean, God just
You
is always
guys
preparing
started
the
a
way.
new life group.
Well, yeah, but all of those people were new to the church,
Yeah.
and so I mean, it's just God knows what He's doing. It's cool to watch and see all that. So we also had this past year very high numbers in baptisms, lots of kids and adults. And then
I think 40 is the
40
total.
is the
40
number,
total
unless we're
baptisms this
missing
past
somebody.
year.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, wow.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
And then high in giving too. I mean, the end of the year giving reports have just been incredible to see how God's been able to use all of that. And yeah.
Yeah, it was a great year. It was a banner year.
Yeah,
The
it
banner
was.
year.
It's
I don't
funny
know what that
going.
means. Do we put a banner up when it's a banner year?
It was I would say it was an intense year because it just felt, I mean, with all the transition that was
new,
happening and people coming on board and covering student ministry, even going back through these current events, I was like, oh yeah, that did happen. I feel like a lot of 2024 is a little bit of a blur to me, just being honest.
Probably, for sure.
Also, that's because we're getting older, and so it's just life. So those two things coupled together.
Yeah. Well, so we talked about world and then some church stuff. What about personal highlights? So you guys want to share like maybe your top 5 2024?
You know, I have a couple.
Sure. Yeah, I'll start. So I set out with a goal to lose a certain amount of weight. Didn't lose all of it, but did get a lot healthier, stronger, actually, for the first time since 2019. So personally, that's a big deal. And I feel like I have a lot of momentum going into 2025.
Yeah.
I do have a couple people who God has allowed me to really be intentional in their lives, and I see the Lord at work in their lives. And, if they're listening to this, they know who they are, and it's just really cool. This is really carrying over in 2025, but yesterday, one of the guys who I've been spending a lot of time with, who just is going through a lot, he actually texted me last night and said an encounter he had, and he said, I finally realized I need God.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. He still has some stuff to work through, but
Praise
that
God.
was so awesome.
Yeah, praise.
I think the structural change at our church was a highlight. I mean, it was kind of, we still had some gaps to fill and all that, throughout the year. But I do think it's just been really fruitful, and it's good to know. It's just good to feel, hey, we made the right decision here.
Yeah.
And then I completed the radical mentoring program. Some people in our church were doing that, and I was mentoring 4 guys who are pastors, and we completed that in 2024, and it was really good. And then, I would just say, I mean, really, the church, really, I mean, being a part of this church and kind of feeling more confident, and this is where the Lord would have me for the next season of my life, it has been good. So, yeah.
It's good. I will say earlier in the year over spring break, we went away for a week, and it was super simple. We went to Lake Yale because it was free for us to stay there, and they offered that for pastors. And we just got some really unplugged time as a family, which in hindsight, God knew we needed, for what everything else, the busyness that was to come in the rest of the year. So that was great. I think this past year got to do 2 sessions of premarital counseling with 2 different couples and do their weddings. And Christy got to do one of those sessions, the counseling. And I really love doing premarital counseling.
Yeah,
I really
delegate that.
I really do enjoy it.
I going on in 25 minutes now.
And so, and there was personal connection with both of the couples, and just having seen over the year. I mean, maybe that's why I love it,
Yeah.
But I think that is a sweet season of life to be in.
Yeah.
Also, to feel like I'm doing it now with maybe a little bit more wisdom in marriage than I did it in maybe 10 years ago when I did
think about that.
counseling.
I'm like, wow.
You did marriage counseling 10 years ago.
But, you're just you just have to because you're in that position.
Yeah,
and,
that's true.
It's true. I think coming off of just church-wide, I think just one specific thing, D-Now weekend was just a really highlight for me. I loved the weekend. I loved how many people were involved, our staff. I mean, just about everybody in our staff jumped in some way.
Yeah.
So many parent volunteers, and then having some of the leaders, John Seth, and
I couldn't
Brittany
even remember
here.
who taught right now.
Right, I
was
know
like,
John
who
Seth and
taught?
Brittany
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Kyle and Maddie leading worship. Just people we've in past years have invested in, and we love dearly.
Yeah, that was
Be
sweet.
here. It was a very I'm getting old and I don't care
Yeah.
moment for me. I love this season.
To see
this
the
season.
fruit of your labor.
Yeah,
moment.
exactly. And then, beginning of this year, I realized physically I had to make some changes in terms of just regular exercise. And so I've, a year in, feel like I've been consistent in going to the gym and not just putting that off and being like, I'm okay, because now's the time. Do it now or you pay later.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
That's
so
true.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, mine, a lot happened in 2024 for me.
Yeah.
And so the first 6 months I was still teaching at the high school, but it was good because it was really sweet. Last 6 months I taught a leadership class and we were doing mock trials and Shark Tank, and I just had this like stud group of kids. They were all seniors and they were winning everything. And so it was just fun, to be in that. But also being able to like close out that season of teaching and knowing that
They didn't want you to leave.
No, they didn't.
I went to a Freeport basketball game.
Oh.
And she's like a celebrity. She was there. They came to watch.
No.
the people.
No.
Seriously, I'm not. She's being humble. It was like everybody would like walk in.
No,
and
they're
like,
sweet.
seriously.
It's small town. You know how that is.
Okay.
But,
they weren't doing that to Chris.
Well, it's
They're like, oh no, the county office
he's
is
the,
here.
yeah,
I know,
he's the big bad
feds,
boss.
right? Yeah. Yeah.
No, no.
Which also he's like the nicest guy
I know,
too.
I know.
So
Yeah,
it's, it's
no.
just funny.
So, and then, starting the new job, that was definitely a huge highlight. It was, God had put a lot of things in place for it to happen and had started really working on my heart with that along, before. So that was neat to see that all come
I remember when you
fruition.
like maybe first texted maybe Christy about it, or I can't remember, and I was like, seriously? Oh, really?
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll be okay. Yeah.
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 It's cool to see because we actually didn't think we'd have a hard time filling the position, and then we did.
I know.
You know,
Well, I just
so-
kept seeing it in the
Yeah,
bulletin, and
yeah.
I was like, well, it's still there. So
Yeah. So God's
Yeah.
good. He knew.
I will
what was gonna
say
happen.
that was one of the most intense interviews I've ever had. Steve Renna. I was like,
Yeah, Pastor
oh
Steve.
my gosh. Afterwards, Chris was like, how did it go? I'm like, I'm not really sure, actually. I don't know.
Steve and I in our interviews, we're like good cop, bad cop,
Yeah. Wow.
good.
So we've all compared similar stories, just so you guys know
That's so
what the
funny.
rest of the stuff.
That's great.
So, but yeah, I got my master's degree, finished that out. So I'm
Yeah.
very
Oh,
glad to
wow.
have that done with. And then I think just family wise, like we had just, my kids kind of had some milestone moments, like permits and driver's license,
Yeah.
jobs,
Yeah.
things like that. So those were cool. But yeah, I think the job definitely holds a big place.
Yeah, I was going to add that. I think all of us, we have a lot of between the three of us are 16 kids. You know,
Yeah.
so there's always something. I also had a kid start driving.
Yeah.
And it's just exciting to see them continue to grow.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So now that we're on to 2025, I know it's a little late, but goals, maybe
Yeah.
have you tweaked them since the beginning?
Yeah, I think for goals, I'm kind of in the season of like, I don't want to make too many goals, and it's not because I'm afraid of not meeting them. It's more, like in terms of personal, it's more like I just really need to be realistic with the things that are on my plate and try to do what I need to do well. And so really, like, I'm not one of those people who likes to have like a word of the year kind of a thing, but I do think for me, I've just kind of tried to think through this year and kind of intentionally work in every area of my life, rest and not rush. I think this past year was like, I tried my best to rest and, to take care of myself. And I think God, through His Spirit, a lot of people tell me, you better do this. And I did it, like James, my wife, and other people around me being like, but I think I also personality wise find myself in a hurry a lot. And I don't like being like that. And so I'm just really trying to just be present and in the moment with people, like consciously, not just like, I don't know I should do that, but like really trying to work some disciplines into my own rhythm so that I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Then physically just continue at the gym, mentally not being staying on track with all of my assignments for school, which is a lot. Just trying to like discipline myself to stay up on it and not procrastinate and try to do it all the week of. So you can't really do that in this program that I'm in for Demon. So, but you can try and it's not fun. So, and then not fall apart when we send our oldest off to college.
Wow.
Next
yeah.
year.
Oh my gosh.
I say that jokingly, but also like, oh man, that's going to be awesome and wonderful. And we're so excited. And we're also going to just be sad for a little while.
Yeah.
So
We're gonna
it's
miss
just
that guy,
reality.
right?
I know. I was thinking that.
I'm going to miss
Oh.
that guy,
I
and he doesn't
know.
live in my house.
And
you
I'm
know,
so like, I am so excited for him. Like, but
Yeah.
also like, oh Jesus, help.
Yeah.
man.
Yeah. And then I'd really, Lord willing, I'm going back to India this year. So praise
Yeah.
That's a goal.
You better be, because I'm not going.
I know,
because you're
right?
going,
That's,
you know.
that's the plan. So
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, personal evangelism, I think being more
Yeah.
intentional,
That's good.
relationally, and part of that is not being so hurried, so that I can like be present and pause and listen to the Holy Spirit and have time to obey Him. You know, continued physical fitness, and again, very grateful for the track I'm on, and I have a friend who's helping me with that, who's kind of an expert, but he's just jacked. That's why I listen.
yeah, listen to that guy.
I have a discipleship group that's been meeting for a year and a half, and I've challenged them in August that we're going to multiply, hopefully into 4 groups. And
wow.
so would love to see that happen. And then, yeah, I think Christy and I, like, this is a goal. It's become more difficult to have time together because of teenagers, you know,
Yeah.
and you know, and we have little kids, so they're up at 6:05 in the morning, and then my teenagers are finishing homework and not sleepy at 10
They
o'clock
want to
at
talk
night.
about their deepest
Yeah,
feelings at
seriously.
10:30 at night.
Because they know that we will, and they're like, "Now's the time. I can stay up."
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's you know, that's a goal, and then I'm looking forward to the New York trip again this year, and just seeing fruit from that, and have opportunities to preach and teach, and just looking forward to continuing to grow and our staff growing together, and
Yeah.
and we have Vision Night coming up February 23rd, and we're gonna share some pretty exciting
big
long range
things.
things
Yeah.
with the church.
Little carrot out there, y'all. Hang in for vision.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm not like, it's a great problem to have, but I don't know what we're gonna do if the Lord continues to bring growth the way He is right now.
Yeah.
I don't know where to put people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, we got to figure it out.
Like I'm in charge of it. That's the way I sound. Like
We got to figure
I
it
don't know
out.
where we're
What's the
gonna.
plan, right?
Yes.
But God's so good. It's a
Yeah.
good problem to have. Yeah.
You're right. Absolutely.
Yeah. What about
Kelly?
you?
Right.
Goals?
Well, sorry, I should have had you close. So kind of same with health stuff, just, you know, continuing with that track. I think
Like you're running on a track every day.
running specifically,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But just trying to get back to my mileage and things like that from the past, you know, now that I'm almost 40 and not bitter about that at all. But like spiritual goals, I've this year really kind of been able to personally slow down. And that's been great because I've had more time to get in the Word and to just study. So I have made like a plan. I have a couple of books that I'm doing like just a deep study myself with and just doing my own thing, not, you know, following anything. I've got a couple commentary books. So that's been like exciting to just kind of go my own pace with that. And then just you kind of talked about intentionality with people. I love to have people over for dinner, and I don't know what happened the last couple of years. I think just prior job just did not have time, and so I'm like, well, you just have to plan these
yeah,
things.
you have to schedule it in, yeah.
Doing that, but like, you know, with family, making sure that we're people in life group and just in church, you know, just having that time to get to know people on a deeper level kind of thing. So yeah, that's it for me.
That's good.
But this is just the beginning.
That's right.
Yeah.
So
Another goal is just that Boggy Talk, we reach 4 million
There you
subscribers.
go.
I'm just kidding. That's silly.
that might
unrealistic.
happen, maybe.
Mainly, yeah. Did we just keep getting better? So.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome. Well, if you do want to find out about more specific goals, join us on
Vision
Night.
It's February
yes, in February.
23rd.
Correct.
Yeah.
Sunday night.
I'd like
February
to stop
23rd.
coughing in 2025.
Yes, you
Yes,
too.
that's a great
I
goal.
did start taking medicine today.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
awesome.
just so you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Vision Night 2023. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
2025. Sorry, February.
I know.
23rd.
Wait, when you said that, I was like,
23rd.
wait a minute.
We know.
Because I was
23.
Because I was immediately thinking about, like, remember, like in 2020, where I was like, "Oh, this is like the perfect year. We're having 2020
have
vision,"
that.
and then COVID, and it was like,
Yeah.
whatever you
That's
thought was about to
right.
happen
Yeah.
is not the vision
It's
anymore.
been 5
Yeah.
years since that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I wonder how many
But
charismatic churches had a prophetic vision in 2020, and then
Yeah.
They rolled
Anyway.
those tapes back for sure.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Good thing it's not the Old Testament. They'd be getting stoned for that.
Done.
this is
Be
true.
done.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, thanks for joining us today. at
Not
our-
Frosty the Snowman stone.
No.
Different kind of stone.
That we could move past that, but I guess not
That's
a favorite
carrying
moment
over.
of 2024.
That's carrying
that will
over
be
with
an
us.
insider joke.
Oh my goodness! All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, and you have any questions or comments or things you want us to talk about, you can email me at kelly@churchonbayshore.org. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for listening to Boggy Talk. We are so glad you joined in the conversation. Go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss a beat.